Welcome to Boris Effects Live. Sponsored by Dell Precision Workstations. Create without limits. And by NVIDIA. And Intel.
Hello everyone, welcome to another edition of Boris Effects Live. My name is Brian Fox. I am excited to be here. We have a great show lined up today. We are going to talk with Nemanja, who is a Photoshop master. He does some amazing digital photo manipulation with Photoshop. Definitely lends more towards the sci-fi end of things, which is cool with us. Some amazing work you guys just showed in the open, so we are going to have fun today geeking out about Photoshop and the new optics plugin released by Boris Effects, which Nemanja is excited to use in his work as well. Alrighty, so let's get going. Today, like, Nemanja is going to be live from Belgrade. So if you have any questions for Nemanja, feel free to go ahead and type them in the chat. I'll be watching as I direct in the background, and I will definitely bring in your questions live. So anything to do with the work you see here, and if you want to kind of ask Nemanja anything, go ahead and type that in the chat. We are going to be, of course, giving away a suite of the Boris Effects. Everything we make, which is Sapphire, Continuum, Mocha, Optics, and Silhouette, to one lucky winner. The way to enter to win a suite of the Boris Effects suite, is to go ahead and put your email in the login window below the YouTube stream you see on boriseffectslive.com, and that is what you will get, a $12.95 value. So awesome prize. One lucky winner today is going to leave happy. Thank you so much to our sponsors, NVIDIA, Dell, and Intel. The Dell workstations, phenomenal stuff. Dell Precision Workstage coupled with NVIDIA professional GPUs. Great solutions if you want to use any of our Boris Effects products, and kind of want to work on any of the stuff you see here today. Want to try it at home? We definitely recommend the Dell Precision Workstations. Dell Precision Workstations for the best experience. As always, follow us on social. We are on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. That's the best way to learn about upcoming live streams, new product announcements, all that fun stuff. That's the best way to kind of follow our news, is on all the social channels. And speaking of news, we have some big news releasing tomorrow. If I can cue up the right graphic, Continuum 2021 is going to release tomorrow, and we are going to feature that in our next live stream, which is a week from tomorrow, Wednesday, November 4th. Huge release for Continuum dropping tomorrow. You guys are the first in the world to know this, so I didn't tell anyone. You didn't hear it from me, but tomorrow Continuum will release over 80 new filters, huge improvements to particle illusion. Like I said, massive release coming tomorrow, so tune in next Wednesday. Ben Brownlee will be with us, and John Dickinson, going through the new features of Continuum. Okay, so let's get on to it. Today I will not be alone. I will be with some of my colleagues at Boris Effects. Ross Shade and Marco Polini, say hello.
Hey Brian, how's it going?
Good. How you doing, Ross?
Hey, really excited today about today's presentation.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one. So Ross and Marco are going to co-host as well. So they're going to take you through the stream while I sit in the back and direct. Excited to have you guys. This is definitely going to be a fun one today.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Brian. Well, I'll just kick it off maybe and just talk for a second about, or were you going to show something else? Or?
Yeah, just don't worry about me, Russ.
Okay, I won't worry. Okay, yeah, I just wanted to mention a little bit about optics. Marco and his team originally had a product called DFT, and Boris Effects acquired that software last year or so. Optics is really, for Boris FX, is our first product for the Photoshop market, and we're super excited about it. DFT had a long history in photography. In fact, that software had a relationship with Tiffin, and I don't know, Mark, if you want to explain a little bit about that, how we got to this optics as the new product before we introduce Nemanja.
Yeah, the DFT product, was an initial attempt at simulating optical glass camera filters from diffusion all the way to lighting gels, and really just trying to cover that entire set of tools that a cinematographer or a photographer may want to use while shooting. And we found that there was a lot more flexibility in doing and adding filters later, because as you know, if you add a filter while you're shooting, it's not easy to remove that later. The kind of the natural progression was to partner with Tiffin, the Tiffin company, who makes optical glass camera filters and has since, I believe, the 30s, if I'm not mistaken. Primarily for the motion picture industry, but also for the photography industry as well. And we took their naming conventions and matched as many filters as possible. After a relationship of about 7-8 years, the software came back to us, and we've continued to innovate it. And I think what's really exciting is that this particular incarnation of the software has all of that optical filter, glass filter simulation, but emulates film stocks, lighting effects. And that's now combined with a good portion, 80 or so filters from the really popular Sapphire filter set from Boris, who's it's won an Emmy Award. It's used in almost every television show that you may see. And we've taken a nice selection of those filters, and optics has now gone beyond just emulating optical filters and film stocks. It has really great rendering plugins and filters that do lightning and lens flares, and it just the list goes on. So and I think this live stream is really fitting because it can take advantage of a lot of those type of filters and producing those effects. So I think that's probably a pretty good background on it. I won't talk any more on it. Let Nemanja get going on it. But really excited to see this.
That's great. Yeah. So together, Boris FX, we released optics about 6 weeks, almost 2 months ago, and we've had really excellent feedback. And when we first came out with the product, one of the first things I started doing was looking around at the Photoshop market and saying, who's doing really cool stuff in visual effects kind of related content. And I came across Nemanja's site and realized that he's this great Photoshop trainer, and he has a really popular YouTube series, channel and series where he's streaming, or producing tutorials all the time. And what I was really drawn to in Nemanja's work was actually just how the sci-fi fantasy really aspect and really professional quality training that he's offering. So that's how we kind of reached out to Nemanja originally. And so I'm really pleased to bring Nemanja onto the stream. So, hey Nemanja, how's it going?
Hey guys, it's great. How are you?
Really good. So perfect. Thanks so much for joining us today. And I was just hoping you could kick off, if you could just tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got into the photography world.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for having me in the first place. I'm happy to be here in this live stream. Well, I started my creative journey around 20 years ago when I was 20 years old. So it was 2000 year when I got Photoshop as a birthday gift. So my friend just gave me the software, I installed it, and just look around the screen, few tools on the left side, few items on the right side, but empty screen, nothing special, and I gave up of it. And few months after, because I was studying electrical engineering, not just few months, maybe a few weeks after that, on one of my classes, one of friends actually started to talk about Photoshop, how amazing software is and how you can do a lot of things there. And I actually tried to give another chance to Photoshop and try to figure out what is all about the software. In that time, there were no YouTube or other online lessons at my side that I could use and learn Photoshop, especially the dial-up connection here in Serbia in 2000. It was crazy slow, and I needed to learn everything on my own. So basically, I experimented with the tools, and first two tools that I learned how to use were Magic Wand tool and Pen tool, and basically, or Lasso tool. I actually don't remember, but Magic Wand for sure, or Pen or Lasso tool. The point here is that all those tools are made for selecting subject from the photo and eventually extract it and put it on another place. And my first photo manipulation ever was I scanned the photo of my father, then some photos from magazines, and I made a collage. Like my father is standing near the campfire on a mountain with a rifle in his hand, and I was like, wow, that's crazy what I can do in Photoshop. But in real life, it was so simple and so trivial. Like you just use scissors, cut out the newspaper, put it on a cardboard, glue it there, and you have collage. It was really funny and nothing special. But that opened a door to completely new possibilities for me. And that's how I fall in love in Photoshop and photo manipulation, basically. So I started to experiment a lot, and learn on my own. And quickly after that, I realized that I need more photos in order to create something that I want to create. But I cannot find those photos online, specific photos from specific angles, etc. So I decided to start learning photography to be able to take my own photos. That was much easier process because I had a lot of friends who were photographers, and also a lot of books and other magazines for photography, etc. So that process was really, really easy to say. So then I started to take my own photos to get better in Photoshop and better, and eventually I realized that I need something more. I need to start learning 3D because science fiction, as you already said, science fiction is my favorite genre, and I love everything like books, movies, TV series, everything science fiction. When I was, I don't know, maybe 5 years old or 6, first time I watched Star Wars, and I fall in love in that. And also to be able to create something in sci-fi world, you need to create something that actually doesn't exist in the real world, or it's really hard to just create something or to find something like that to take a photo. So that's why I started to learn a 3D. And 3D, it's pretty hard. It's a huge world, and usually a 3D project usually is done by few people, not just one person. But that's something that I'm still learning. I'm still on that learning path, but I love it. It's amazing. It's so creative. You can create practically anything that you can imagine. And also, why I love photo manipulation so much, because that's how I like to say that's a world of endless possibilities, because you can literally create anything that you can imagine. The only limitation is your imagination, and of course the knowledge of how to use some software or even hardware tools in order to be able to create something, some props or some other things for your photo. There is one thing that, yeah, say.
Sorry, I was just going to say it's very cool because it seems to me you're coming to this field as an impressionist, abstract. You're just like want to create something, as opposed to a lot of photographers when they get into the the art of photography. It's about extracting, finding that one moment, capturing a live sunset event, whatever. But you're kind of saying this is the image I want to bring into the world. It was very cool.
Yes, exactly. And the thing here is that you definitely need to like pre-plan everything. You need to imagine, either to make a sketch or imagine in your head what do you want to produce, like a final result, and then to start like gathering photos for that. So I always recommend the sketch. Just it doesn't matter if you are like a pro artist and you can draw like really cool detailed sketch, or just like a childish type of sketch. It doesn't matter. What matters is to know what do you need, which kind of angles do you want, what kind of mood you're chasing for. And the best thing, at least in my experience, is always to find first a background for your photo manipulation. Why? Well, because background will already define the angles, the perspective, also will define the lighting conditions. You can change that in some situations, but you will have something to work with. You can then take a photo of a model from that specific angle with the specific lighting conditions, or to find something that you need to put in a photo from some stock websites. Because there are three important rules in photo manipulation in order to create a realistic result. You need to match, actually all the elements need to be matched in perspective, lights, and colors. So everything that you put on your background need to be in the same perspective like that background. And also everything has to have exactly the same or at least similar lighting conditions. And overall, you need to color correct all the elements to belong to the same color palette. And what is cool in photo manipulation is that you don't need to make something like 100% realistic. The point is to fool the viewer eye. So that's what you're chasing. So just make something close enough so people who are watching that can say, wow, that's really cool. But nobody will tell you, oh, that shadow doesn't look 100% realistic, maybe 97 or I don't know, 80%. So you're going for that kind of thing to fool viewer eyes.
Yeah, that's something that Marco and I can both relate to, because we've both had a career in visual effects and compositing on films and television shows in the past, and especially working on moving images at any frame. When the viewer pauses, that frame has to be perfect. So every mask and every everything has to be really perfect. So
yeah, that's a lot of work.
So how about we look at some of your work, and you can show us a little bit of how you approach shots in Photoshop. That would be wonderful.
Yes, of course. Let me share the screen a little moment. Just a moment. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah, looks good.
Yes. Okay, perfect. So this is my website and the portfolio section. I just want to go through some images. So this is probably my favorite image of all time, just because this is my father. My father was a doctor, the medicine doctor, and he loved to read a lot. Unfortunately, he passed away a few years ago, but he loved to read a lot, and he had a huge library. And this was inspired by Cerebro in X-Men, and I made it this. And actually, everything that you see in the photo, except the person, my father here, everything is made in a 3D. I modeled everything in a Cinema 4D and just then took a photo of my father in the studio and just positioned it here, color graded, and that's basically it. It was really easy to do it in Photoshop, but to create everything, I was actually using Dell laptop, Dell XPS 15 to create this, because I was working remote. And you mentioned the Dell at the beginning, so I just want to say that I really love their laptops. They're really, really cool. So something like that, it's easy. Yes?
Nemanja, sorry to interrupt you. Can you just, when you show an image, maybe if you remember, like what resolution are you typically working at? Like that, this beautiful image, what resolution were you working at?
Well, that's a common question that I got. I have the approach that I like to work in the highest resolution that I can do it at that moment in time. So this was, I think, 24 megapixels or something like that. But sometimes if I'm creating something custom for just a book cover or something like that, then usually I don't go for so high res images, especially if I'm doing 3D. It's much easier to render something low res than high res. And if that will be only for a book cover or only for Instagram, then I don't need actually to go with such high resolution. And also then you don't need to spend so much attention to small details, because they will not be visible.
Sure. And so when you're approaching a shot, you sometimes know, because you mix commercial work with your own work, is that it? So sometimes it's a paid print job, for example, and versus something you're going to do for your training audience.
Yes, exactly. When I'm doing a paid job, then definitely I try to do my best to have the highest res file. Again, only if there is some limits about where the file will be used, and they ask for specific resolution that is not so high. But otherwise, I really like to have everything in high res. But for my YouTube tutorials, because they are tutorials meant for people to learn how to do these kind of processes, I don't do so high resolution things there.
Of course, yeah.
Okay, so let's go with a few other things. One of what this is pure Photoshop. So I actually have a full tutorial on how I created this artwork, and this was just a Photoshop combination of few images, but sometimes it's not so easy to find the proper images for your artwork, because this was all stock photos. I didn't took any of these photos. This is one photo with the sky and these rocks. Then another photo is the rocket. Another photo is this cowboy guy, and then few photos of some canyons and things here down below. And sometimes I spend several days searching for proper photos, actually changing several ideas because I cannot find proper images for the idea that I have in mind. And also I don't have time to go and take all those photos from specific locations and so on and so forth for my YouTube tutorials. So that's why my YouTube tutorials are so time consuming, 3, 4, 5 days to create one. This one, it's really interesting because everything is 3D except the girl's face and arms, basically. And I have on the website, I have here section blog, and you can go or search the frog prints, and you can see how I did it. But what is interesting here is that we took a photo of this model in a studio, and we didn't have a proper background, proper dress. The dress that this girl were in, it was not good at all. So I decided to just create a dress. I modeled the dress, and for that I use Marvelous Designer. It's amazing software for creating clothes and things like similar like that. So the dress is completely 3D and everything else. And I was really happy with this piece after I finished it. So there are a lot of things here, but also this one, it's pure Photoshop. I draw this house actually hair by hand. I painted with my Wacom pen, and it took me around 8 hours to finish it. And then after I did it, this was the first time to do something like that. I actually developed a technique to make that much faster and better. And then I did few paid work, few commission work for a client with that, but something completely different on the model's head. And I'm preparing a full course on how to do something like that, how to create any kind of shape, but not to waste like days to paint it hair by hair. Okay. There are a lot of things that you can see here. You can just scroll through my website and see there. Most of these photos you can find tutorials on my YouTube channel. This is my last breakdown video that I did it. Dune, another iconic sci-fi movie, sci-fi story. I read the books. There is just one movie that was released, and now next year there will be another one. So I just created something inspired by the movie or the books. It's really, really cool. Also here, this I really love because here I use Boris FX optics to add lens flares, and I fall in love in optics lens flares. First time I saw it, I used it because, first of all, I will later demonstrate, but there are so many cool lens flares, and also you can create a custom ones, and you can change a lot of things. And this adds, for me, this adds a lot in the mood of this photo. So it's really cool. Without lens flares, it's not so cool. It's cool, but not so cool.
Yeah, the work you're showing is so cinematic, you know, it really, everything looks like a feature film, which is so cool.
Thanks. Here, see this. I wanted to add lens flares here. This is, I made this before actually I learn about your software, so about learning the optics. And I didn't like the lens flares that I just put it here, and this is why I left it. I didn't put anything like that. But after I tried the optics, this is amazing. So I definitely need to redo some of photos to see how it will look with the lens flares properly added here.
Nemanja, are you have any tips or tricks for blending the multiple images in terms of like color correction, lighting, grain? Is there any particular technique you use, or are you just kind of winging it as you go?
Well, that's a good question. When you have a lot of experience, then usually you don't play by the rules. At least I don't. I don't have like strict rules how I create my photo manipulations, like tips for every single photo that is the same. I approach every single artwork, every single composite differently. The main thing, what is important, is to know what I will create, to try to find the proper images, and then I go back into Photoshop and start building the scene. So let me just jump into Photoshop to show you something. For example, just this photo that you saw on the screen. So what a coincidence. So this is just a moment. So how I build this. This is really simple and easy to create this composite. I will just walk you through quickly. It may be for beginners, this doesn't look simple, but trust me, it's really simple to build it. The harder part was to create this, I don't know, one wheel vehicle, or how to call it, in a Cinema 4D. So I created this in a Cinema 4D, and then just let me go to show you. This is what I made in a Cinema 4D, and this is how it looks. This is the shadow that I paint in a layer, so you cannot see. This is why you see these patches, but don't look at it. Okay, so this is what I started from, the background and this one wheel. So basically, I created this, put it here, and then the hard part, the really hard part, was to properly position the model in a studio to sit like that, so that their leg will be, the model's leg will be hitting this thing right here, to be on a seat, to properly hold the wheel, etc. And we tried so many times to match the position, and actually the biggest problem was the wheel here, so the steering wheel. So then we decided to delete the steering wheel completely from the original photo. It was here, but I deleted and actually put the steering wheel in a model's hand, as you can see, and this is the pose of the model. So after that, after we nailed that, it was not a big deal to just put a model there, add some dirt on the face, on the motorcycle here, and also on the arms, and just put some dust here and debris, and that's basically, yeah.
When you're shooting in a studio, like with this model, for example, are you shooting on a white cyc or a green screen cyc background? When you know you need to do intricate masking.
Yeah, that's a great question. Depends. That's something that I was struggling a lot in the beginning, but you know what? When you're shooting on a white background, usually you get something, if you don't have like a really big studio and to put a model really far away from the background, you have some lights that are reflecting from the background to the model. And if you want to put model in that way, to put it on a darker background, you will need to do some tricks to make everything perfect. But it's much easier to shoot the model on a, for example, gray, darker gray background, or even black, but I don't like completely black, and then to put it on a darker background. If I want to put a model on a bright scene, then I love to shoot on a white background. Also, what is really important, when I take a photo of a blonde, especially woman, blonde girl, the blonde hair especially if it's messy and the white background, they're not talking with each other too good to be extracted pretty good. So yeah, I usually put something behind the hair, some darker or some colored part of the background, whatever, just to be able to later in the post-production extract the hair much easier. So that's why you need to think in advance to see where you will put your model, how you will put your model, and to think if you are taking your photos, what is the best way to make your life easier after in Photoshop. So
thanks for that answer. Yeah.
So then let's go back to the Photoshop, and then basically I added just one helicopter here too, actually, of them, just to make some kind of a chase scene. They're chasing this woman and she's running, and also I blurred the background just to make that impression of she's like driving this actually, whatever, really fast. So that's it. And after I finish with everything, just a few like curves here, I just did the final color grading, and it's a pretty big difference here just with the color grading. So that's something that I always leave for the last thing to do. Also, I draw the shadows. Shadows are really important in photo manipulations, because when you don't have a shadow, then definitely your model will look like it's floating or not belonging there. It's not grounded, so you need to have a proper shadows. So with this shadow, who is really experienced with the shadows will see that this is not 100% real, but it will sell the story. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it looks great. For me, what really sells this is the motion, is the blurred motion,
Yeah.
and the particles, the particle debris. So yeah, no, I think it's looking great.
So
Nemanja,
yeah.
I was going to say one of the questions somebody had was, do you create your own textures, or are you getting them from a site somewhere?
That's a great question. Thanks. Well, the textures I have both variations. I have my own collection of textures. If they mean about the background, then that's a different story. But the textures, I have my own. I go for sometimes online and purchase some of them or get some free of them. But also these elements like debris and the smoke, etc. I have, let me show you really quickly. I have my own brushes. So this is my smoke cloud dust brush, because you can create smoke cloud, mist, whatever with these. Also, I have my debris brushes that I created, and I use them a lot. So maybe I want to make some, like, see, and change the color, maybe somewhere brighter, and like the helicopter is smoking right there, or maybe not there, maybe right here, I don't know, and put a fire and create that kind of effect. It's really easy. I love to do that with my own brushes, because I customize them for this kind of stuff. And also I'm selling these brushes for just $1 on my website. So if somebody want to have these sets of my brushes, they get there. But also I have a tutorial how to create it for free on your own. So it's up to people what they want to do.
It's cool. It's a good value. And yeah, I think someone on the YouTube chat said that they already have your brushes, that they really like them. So very cool.
Perfect. That's great to hear. So that's basically with that. But now let me show you something. Let me see. Okay, I want to show you this. Just want to talk about the shadows quickly. So this is the scene that I created, the Sherlock Berlin mystery. I was in Berlin taking photos for clients, and where is it? It's okay. It's right here. And I took the backgrounds. These backgrounds I took in Berlin, and I always, when I travel, I always take photos of backgrounds all the time, because maybe sometimes I will use it, maybe not, but to have it, like I have a big library of background. And this is the part of that story, like this is a crime scene, the Sherlock is investigating, this is Dr. Watson, actually me, investigating something completely different here, as you can see. And the point here are the shadows. And if I just hide this guy and go to myself and just delete the shadows, you can see he's like floating here. And just by adding a proper shadows, you will ground the model to the floor. And what I like to say is that there are 3 types of shadows. One is the contact shadow. So that's the shadow that is actually just around the contact surface between the model and the background. So just small contact shadow. Sometimes it's barely visible. Then there is an ambient shadow. So shadow from all other lights than the key light, than the main light. And also there is a main shadow. So because here I set this light to be like a main light, and it's like the strongest one, let's imagine it. And this is the harsher, stronger shadow here. But because there is a little more diffuse light and more lights, of course, from the front side, then we have another shadow, of course, that is going on like here. But because this light is so strong, it's washing out the shadow. The shadow will not go like fully there. And also with this guy, we have same thing. We can create here, I just deleted just to show you. If I go and create with a soft brush that really quickly a shadow, like there is from the front light, just really quickly, like something like this. And then we have this part somewhere here, and the part of the body doesn't matter. It's really sloppy and quick job. But then because this light here will wash out a lot of the shadow part, it will be something like this. And also I will blend it like really subtle, and maybe even more, maybe like 17, or I don't know. Just it's there, you subconsciously notice it, but maybe consciously you cannot see that there is a shadow. But without shadow, maybe it's not like there yet, but here it's a little bit better. So that's quick tips about the shadows.
Yeah, very nice, and also applicable for like all our customers who, some of them might be using our software not just for still photography, for this kind of work, but actually for a motion design or for a show open or a composite for a film. So it's really the same tips and ideas you're talking about are totally relevant outside of photography as well. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Well, and also, I think I was going to say, I think yes, too, a lot of these small details that you're showing, like with the very fine ambient shadows, make a huge difference in making that photo and the composite really look realistic.
Yes, exactly. I agree. I like to say that details are really important, because that's something that impact us as a viewer subconsciously, and you have better impression, better feel when you're looking the image. It doesn't need to have like a conscious awareness that actually there is that kind of element, but overall the photo looks more pleasing to the eye. Also, what I want to say about the shadows, because that's something that people all the time are asking me, sometimes you need to draw your own shadows. You cannot take a shadow from a photo and just put it there. Or you cannot just take a shadow from a model and just make a silhouette and just put it like this on the floor. That sometimes doesn't work. But actually, I explained all of that in my Photo Manipulation Essentials course. So I have there detailedly explained how the shadow works and lights and all of that. So that's it.
Do you do a lot of mesh warping or bending or any kind of distortions on the images or whatever it takes?
Yes, sometimes. Yes, sometimes I'm doing that. Sometimes you need to do whatever it takes to make everything to blend properly. But I usually like to, especially when I learn 3D enough to create something on my own, I like to make something in the 3D and to put it in a Photoshop rather than experimenting with some object, maybe distorting or try to change the perspective or whatever there. So depends.
Sure.
Okay, so let me show you one more example here with. Oh, just quick breakdown of this photo. without 3D, without me learning 3D, this photo will be definitely impossible, because I will not be able to create these artifacts that are falling down from the sky. And actually, this is so easy to create in 3D. It maybe takes, I don't know, 10 minutes or something like that. It's really easy. It seems complex, but when you apply some displacement maps on just regular object, you will get something like this. And here again, you will see I started with a background. This is the background, but I warped it a little bit here just to have more kind of this type of a background. I liked it better. And this I actually did at the end. When I put everything here, I realized that I don't like this to be close to my object. So this is why I went back, make a copy of a background, and just put it there. So you can see this is something that bothers my eye here, just the contact here. And that's why I did it. Also, I made a 3D object, put it there. There are shadows already, because you can extract the shadows from a 3D. So it's really, really easy to do that. And then this is a photo of myself. I took a photo in the studio, and let me show you really quickly. This is me. This shadow, I just draw the shadow. Just try to imagine how I would look like if you were seeing me from the front. So I just use a pen and draw. See how ridiculous this is. See, this is totally ridiculous. And I almost have 4 fingers, not 5. There are 2 fingers here. There are 2 fingers, but but it doesn't matter. I'm not so good at drawing at all. But this will sell the work, because I will put something here. I will put some kind of dust, and then I just add a color correction just to blend it a little bit better with the scene, and just dodge and burn. And after that, this is lifesaver. A lot of smoke, a lot of dust, and my hand is properly visible here. So this is how it looks. And of course, the final color grading, I forgot something. I forgot debris and there are debris here, like this is hitting the sand and everything is falling apart. And also this magic part right there. This is really cool. And then color grading, that's it. So I do my color gradings usually in Adobe Camera Raw. So that's where I'm doing it. But lately, I tried to do that in Optics, because Optics has great film simulations, and also you can basically steal the color grade from some still photo from a movie or whatever. That's really cool, and I'm experimenting with that, and that's really, really a good way to color grade your photos. There are so many cool things in Optics there.
So you're talking about using the match filter to match one color grade of one image to another.
Exactly. The match filter is one of my favorites filters beside the lens flares that I really, really love, and a few others like light leaks, etc. But the matching filter is really cool thing there. Now, is there anything in particular you're doing for masking? Or are you just trying to use anything to get the right mask? Well, for a masking, sometimes it's hard, but usually it's easy, because when I'm taking my own photos, I already prepare everything for Photoshop to be able to easier extract the model out of the background. And what I found to be really easy for masking as a masking tool is actually Optics Easy Mask. So that's so amazingly easy way to mask out something there. So when I'm in Optics and doing some effects there, I can easily mask and apply effect wherever it's needed. Also, I experimented with the skin, how I can use Easy Mask and just mask the skin quickly to apply some skin filter just on the skin, not on the whole portion of the image. And it works pretty good without problems. In a matter of a couple of seconds, you're masked all the skin. In Photoshop, it would take a lot more time, definitely.
Awesome. Well, your work is so great, and people are loving what they're seeing. Do you? We have a little bit more time. We're hoping maybe we could jump into optics and talk about optics together.
Of course. Let's do it. Let's share the screen again. So
and while
here
you're
it is.
doing that, Nemanja, I'm just curious. In your work, I think when I first reached out to you, you told me that you don't really use plugins. I mean, have you used plugins much in the past in your work?
Exactly. When you reach out to me, I said, I usually don't use plugins in Photoshop. I like to do everything on my own. So I wanted to test and to see if this is something that I would use. And I was blown away, to be honest, with the plugin. And now I'm using it more and more and more. And I will show you here in Photoshop. The only two plugins that I'm using are Boris FX and Nik Collection. So they're the only two plugins that I'm using for my photo manipulations. Nothing else. I don't use any other plugins. So that's really cool. And now let me show a really quick example just to put something here. This is a stock photo, so this is not my photo, but something that I really love in optics, and this photo is suitable for showing two things in the same time, maybe three, is like this. I will make a copy of the layer and turn it into smart object, just because in that way I can easily go back and forth optics and Photoshop and change something on the go if I need it. And here I will do the following. I want to apply this, but oops, sorry, wrong button. Sorry guys, I want to apply this, but I need to reset because I already did it. So okay, I want to apply the lens flare on the flashlight here, and also this muzzle from the gun. And before I was doing that manually and took a lot of time, but now I'll show you how really easy is this to create. So I will go to Light tab and go here to, just a second, to lens flare. And the beauty of lens flares is there, as you can see here, bunch of lens flares. You need a lot of time just to choose if you want maybe this one, maybe this one is better than the other one, etc. I love the variety of lens flares, so maybe I'll use this one, why not? Or maybe I want some kind of J.J. Abrams type of lens flares from the Star Trek and other movies that he did, because he loves lens flares in his movies. So this is really cool, etc. So there are a bunch of them. And what I love here, I will use this one because I really love this one. And what you can do with any of these effects is that you can change a bunch of things inside. So maybe I don't want blue lens flare. Maybe I want to change something to orange. No problem, it's orange. Or maybe I want something green. It's green. Whatever, you can change whatever you want. I will leave it like blue, but maybe I want less bright, more bright. Maybe I want to add more elements. Maybe I want to desaturate it like white, because actually this flashlight is white. And then maybe just a little bit of the bluiness here, and so on and so forth. Also, amazing thing here, really amazing thing, is that you can edit lens flares. And that's mind-blowing thing for me, because here, this is a lens flare, how it looks. And you can decide if you don't want few of elements here, maybe you want something just like this, or maybe you want to add something, maybe you want to add this kind of thing here, and you can do it. And you can change a few things here and there. And now maybe if I want that, I will press OK, and it will update in a couple of seconds. And this is another type of lens flare. If I don't like it, I can always go back at it and just deselect that and have the original one with everything that I deselected. So I will return back. This is it. So this is how it looks. And also you can change a lot of things here. I will not show you everything, because you can maybe go with ray brightness. You can do that. You can maybe go with just a second to find here. Okay, the blur. Maybe you want to blur, you don't want so harsh, maybe you want to blur it a little bit. And actually I will do that a little, just like that. And so on and so forth. Yeah. So there you can change the hue really easily here. You don't need to go inside this and try to nail it. You can do it in real time here, put saturation and just go like, oh, maybe I like greenish. So if you want to reset it, just press here, reset. It's so simple, so easy, intuitive. And if this is okay, I can create a new layer and see how much better it is just with the lens flare. Before and after, or let's go like this. Before and after, the image looks already better. It's already something going on. It's a live thing there. So now let's go and add another effect. What I like to add is this. Let's go to render, and this muzzle flash effect. This is something that I in the past did manually. Let's put it here for a second. And I tried to either draw it by hand using several layers, and you need to nail proper brightness and glow, etc., and of course the shape. But here you can have a 3D representation of it. Maybe the gun is face towards the camera, so amazing, really easily. Maybe another angle, up, down, however you want, you can just nail this. And I will put it here and rotate on a proper angle. So this is really strange, like the bullet is going down. And let's put it like that. And also what is really cool here is that you have a lot of options here. It doesn't need to be this default one. You have different weapons and different things that you can apply. Also like sci-fi things like from Green Lantern or maybe some laser or whatever. And see, these kind of things. But I will stick with this. And let's move it here. Let's rotate it back in the perspective like that. And I can go to parameters here and just choose different gun. So this is not M16 rifle. It's probably more like Beretta or something like that. And I can go and change to a 3 of variants, maybe move it a little bit closer, and also try to measure perspective. And then I can play with the brightness. So I can do this. I can play with the radius, make it bigger and smaller easily here with the sliders. I can also go and change the variations of this seed, of course, how it will look. It's amazing. There you can blur it more or less, depends what you want to do. Or again, you can change the color, what you want to do here. So many cool things that you can do. So I will just make it a bit brighter. And as you can see, you can play with a lot of things. And now if I go and create a new layer, just to see, it's cool. You can go back. Maybe I want more yellowish, maybe more like orange yellowish. Let me see. Maybe I want something like that, and so on and so forth. The point is that you can really nail this to match your preference. So let's see, something like this, etc. But I don't want so saturated. Yeah, this is better, but a little bit more. And then what I like to do, I like to go to another layer and just maybe add a few other things. I can go to light, and maybe I want to add a light leak because it's so cool. There are so many things that you can do with light leaks. Again, bunch of them and bunch of options to do whatever you want. So as you can see, there are some crazy effects that you can customize, move it, make it brighter, darker, change the opacity. I love this soft blue for this photo. And of course you can go right here and scale this and change whatever you want, and so on and so forth.
And Nemanja, one thing to point out is that all these custom adjustments you're making can be saved as an individual preset for that particular filter.
Yes.
And you can save up the entire layer stack with all the filters and masks applied over there on the left side of the screen for use on another image. So all those adjustments, you can have your own set of presets that you've created.
Yes, that's amazing actually. And you can set your own customs here if you want. Also, you can put some favorites inside that you're using a lot of times. So that's really cool. And what I really like here, let me show you one more thing. It's Film Lab, and I can go to film stocks, and here I can just go and maybe go with some, sorry, one more thing is that what I messed up is this. Wait a second. Is render this. I don't know how I messed it up, but It's not here. Probably I did on the same layer, on the same layer.
While you're doing that, Nemanja, let me jump in, because this is what you're showing is amazing and so near and dear to my heart. I mean, just so everybody knows, I mean, we're seeing sapphire filters in Photoshop here, which is pretty much, you know, amazing. Like, I can't tell you, I've spent a bulk of my career rendering out lens flares and comping them back in Photoshop, right? to get them in from After Effects, rendering out muzzle flares from After Effects to get them into Photoshop. So to see like you know, this live in Photoshop, and to be able to tweak the parameters of all these like sapphire effects and these legendary DFT effects you're showing, like the film stock color grades, just amazing stuff. It's like a whole new bag of tricks, you know, for Photoshop artists.
Yeah, I agree, Brian. Totally.
Yeah, sorry, Nemanja, talking over you. It's like, I was just going to say, I totally agree. I came from a background, even though I'm doing visual effects and motion design, I use Photoshop all the time as a tool to present to clients storyboards.
Sure.
So to be able to build up storyboards very, very quickly in Photoshop with a tool like Optics and the sapphire effects and everything is just incredibly powerful.
Yeah, exactly. I totally agree. And here, I just want to show that there are so many ways, and really so many ways to color grade something. You can go like with regular curves and things like that. Also, the matching filter is right here, so you can load it here, your own photo, and just match it with that. Let me show you really quickly a stupid example. This is photo with a lot of brownish and black tints, and when you load it here, you will get something like this. It's not example for that, but the point is that you can do that. You can then maybe lower the opacity, lower the color. Also, you can here set it in different blending mode and play with that, and so on and so forth. But there's so many ways how you can color grade later, or choose different film simulation. I really love Fuji films, so maybe let's reset this. Maybe few of it.
It's the multiply blend mode, I think.
Yeah, it's multiply blending mode. It's making a mess. So let's go back to this, and let's go to Fuji. And let's see, this looks cool. Maybe if we want more warmer look like that. And again, what is really cool that you can again change a lot of things there. You can maybe add even more contrast to that, and play with different colors and different simulations here. And it's really huge thing. The possibilities are almost endless. What you can do and how you can customize this to fit your look, your needs, etc. So let me show really quickly now, before and after we started with this. And just with basically few clicks here and there, we get more interesting photo. Maybe we are going back into Photoshop right here. And maybe if we want to make even more interesting, what I would do here if I have more time, I would definitely place, it will reload now. I will place a bullet maybe here. Maybe I will add a smoke. I don't know. Let's go and just add something more, maybe more smoke here, just for fun, or maybe some kind of mist right there in the scene. Maybe I would extract this guy out of the background and just put some other background there, etc. So there's so many ways how you can customize this photo, but the point is that with the optics, you can create some of these effects so easily in such like few seconds or minutes, depends how you're experienced in this. And again, what is really cool that you can double click on that. Maybe you don't like the color, maybe you want to change the lens flare, maybe you want to change whatever. You can go back in optics and really easily approach any of these layers, any of these elements, and just change it. And that's it. When you're done, again, back to the gear icon, back to the Photoshop, and you're ready to go. So that's really, really awesome way to use optics for, especially for my type of work, for photo manipulation, because there are so many ways how you can create really cool things there. Also, If there are some questions, just let me know.
Let's see. I think that we're pretty much getting close to the end of time here. People are really saying some very nice things in the chat, though. Everyone loved the demonstration. I know some people are going to look at your brushes. Nemanja, want to give your tell people where they can find more information about your YouTube and about your website again?
Yeah, they can go. Just let me show here. They can go to my website. It's nemanjasekulic.com. And there is a store, there are tutorials, everything is here. Contact all my socials where I am, so you can find everything on my website and go to anywhere I am to support me or whatever. So my website is basically the main thing.
Also just to point out that Nemanja did do a tutorial about optics about 3 weeks ago, which has been
exactly
had quite a lot of views on his YouTube channel.
Exactly. Let me show you the photo. Thanks for pointing this out. Just a second on Instagram. So this is another cool effect that I really love. The lightning, the zap effect. It's really cool. This is the original photo that I created. But when added this zap effect and few light leaks, it's much better, more actions, more dramatic photo looks. And this is done with 2 minutes or even less. Just create a mask. And do I have time just to show the mask in optics?
Sure. Why not?
Why don't we do this, Russ? While he's booting that up, let's say congratulations to Ada Walsh. Congratulations, Ada. Ada wins 12 months of the Boris Effects Suite. Let's see if I have a Boris Effects Suite graphic. So that is Silhouette, Continuum, Sapphire, Mocha, and Optics. So congratulations. You get a year, Ada, of every single thing we make. So congratulations, $12.95 value.
The whole shebang. It's a great prize.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
All right, Ada, we will be in touch. All right, let's bring back up Nemanja.
Okay, I'm here in optics already. This is the photo that I loaded in. And I just want to show how easy you can use Easy Mask. It's easy to use Easy Mask. You just paint with the green, whatever you want to keep, and you don't need to be precise at all. And also then go with the red and just paint something out of it. And this is it. And then you just need to go and press this to calculate the mask. And on the left side, you will see the mask. This is how the mask looks. If you press here or M button, this is the mask. You can even refine it even more, but so quickly, so easily to create the mask. And then you can apply some filters. For this, I really love to apply just these gobo effects. It's really cool. So let me show you. Let's do with this one. Why not? So I can just go and make it bigger, like this. Make it less displaced because to follow the curves of the body. It's really cool. I can blur it a bit maybe, or no. Or I will leave it default. And then I can make a copy of this same layer right here and just make a copy of the mask, go on the mask, invert the mask, and then apply the same effect at a background. And in a matter of, as you can see, just a few moments, let's blur this a little bit, maybe like that, and just make it bigger. You have some kind of really cool look that somebody's taken a photo through the window. And of course you can just change the brightness and things on every single, every single effect, maybe something like this. Then let's go back here. Maybe I want to make this, just a second. Yeah, this darker. And this is it. This is really easy. Let's just see. Before and after, really cool way, like to make impression she's in some kind of a window, front of the window, etc. There are a lot of gobos here that you can use. Amazing thing here is that I found really, really useful are water acoustics that you can see here. So reflection of the water on the ground. And this is so useful when you're doing underwater photos and you create some kind of a sand surface. You take a photo of desert, it doesn't matter, just some sand, and then apply this water acoustic and you have impression that there is reflection of the water and make everything blue, etc. So amazing, and much more. You have water droplets and some trees, etc. A lot of windows, doors, and things like that. So endless possibilities, and I can talk about this for hours and don't cover everything.
Oh, and Nemanja, I think there's about 700 different gobos there, and you can also create your own and just load them in as either a TIFF or a JPEG. And Nemanja, under the presets, you see the all pop-up menu. No, on the other screen. Yeah, if you go to see the actual visual presets, there at the very top left, there's a pull-down menu.
Yes,
we have groups, but yeah, I think the important thing is that you can create your own and load those in and make it really custom.
Yes, and it needs to be like an alpha channel. It needs to be black and white, so that's important.
Excellent. Yeah, these are two of my favorite things in optics that you just showed. The easy mask, I love it. It's just so easy, and you can, the quality of the mask you got on the hair, really great. And then obviously the lighting effects with gobos,
super cool.
And just to kind of tie into the continuum release, and I want to let the cat out of the bag, but you can expect some of the filters that you see here in optics, not the sapphire ones, but the non-sapphire filters. Some of those you're going to start seeing in continuum, such as that light filter. So you can have that on your moving images as well.
What a
big release coming tomorrow.
What a tease, Marco. What a tease. Yeah, no, Nemanja, fantastic stuff. Really cool. Love to see you playing around with all those sapphire effects. I can't wait till you really get into the really trippy ones. Where sapphire is kind of known for. There's so many cool psychedelic effects too, in addition to the lighting effects. So great to see you getting in there, and you can definitely tell you're having fun when you're playing around with these tools too. So that's great to see. Great job.
Thanks.
Yeah.
No, I just like to have one. Go ahead, Ross.
No, I was just going to say, I agree. Excellent job. But I also want to say we definitely look forward to having you, do some more tutorials with optics in the future. So, thanks for everything.
Yeah, I would love to. No problem. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, and I just wanted to say that, coming from a feature film visual effects background, it's really exciting to see you doing that same kind of work for yourself and for your art, and being able to tie together the 3D and compositing and painting all into one place. I think it's one of the most creative areas you can be in right now. So it's nice to see. Great work.
Thanks. Exactly. That's so cool and creative that you can do, as I already said, whatever you thinking of, just make something like that. But of course you need to practice and have experience and knowledge of use softwares and tools, etc. So
excellent job. All right, gentlemen, I think that was fantastic. I mean, honestly, we like barely touched the surface, right? I mean, that's what we always say. We could go on for another 2 hours, but I think you did do a great job of like a fast and dirty kind of overview of optics and all the new cool tools in there. So thank you so much, Nemanja. Great job.
Thank you guys so much.
Keep up the great work. Everyone out there, follow Nemanja on social, follow him on Insta. Check out his brushes. I'm an owner of your brushes as well. They're fantastic. That definitely took me to the next level with my Photoshop work. So thank you so much, Nemanja. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Cool.
So I just want to say that I'm really, really thrilled with the optics, and I just want to say to people, whoever want to try the optics, it's amazing software. It's really a lot of cool possibilities, and it's something that really worked, especially coming from me, that I don't use a lot of plugins. This is something that I'm definitely using and will use a lot in the future. So it doesn't need to be just for photo manipulations. It can be for other type of retouching and doing a lot of creative things there. There are so many cool filters that you can use with ease.
Cool. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, my friend. Great job. Great job.
You're very welcome.
All right, everyone. Well, thank you so much for watching. This has been a fantastic presentation showing off optics. Like I said, make sure to follow Nemanja on social, follow him on Instagram, and check out his website, coming up next, our next Boris Effects live stream, like we talked about, is a week from tomorrow, Wednesday, November 4th at 5 p.m. We are going to deep dive all the new features in Continuum 2021, which releases tomorrow. And like Marco, completely let the cat out of the bag. Let's show that there is some fantastic stuff you saw today. Some of these filters that are in optics that come over from the DFT plugins, you'll see those included in Continuum 2021. So fantastic, huge new upgrades for Continuum and particle illusion, some massive upgrades to particle illusion as well, the particle illusion plugin inside Continuum and the standalone as well. So tune in next week, Wednesday, November 4th at 5 p.m. And check out Ben Brownlee and John Dickinson as we go through the new Continuum features in the 2021 release. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. My name is Brian Fox for Boris Effects. We will see you all next time. Thank you so much.